I was a Star Trek kid from really, really early on, and grew up on Next Generation and Deep Space Nine and Voyager and all of that, and had the uniforms and the action figures and the whole bit. Probably my folks have lost count of the number of years I was Geordi from Star Trek for Halloween. And then I was the reading, always had a book in my hands, and so I read every Apollo, Mercury, and Gemini book that the library had. I wanted to be an astronaut, of course, and so that wasn't going to happen with my really bad eyesight. But I got to go to space camp, and they said, well, you can be an astronaut, or at least work at NASA, if you have a degree in engineering. So I went home and told my folks, well, never mind, the teaching degree is out, I'm going to be an engineer, let's completely restart the college search. I will never forget onboarding and standing there with my hand raised and saying, the pledge to protect the U.S. and the Constitution and all of that is, my first day as a civil servant. I have two roles that I serve at the moment. One is with working with our senior leadership team on governance, which is how we run our meetings, how we track what we say we're going to do and follow up and make sure that it actually happens and that what we do is documented well. The other side of my job is business development, where I'm working with our deputy director of our directorate to look at potentially some non-traditional partnerships that maybe NASA wouldn't have naturally thought of, as well as working with our directorates and listening to what they are each doing for business development, so that if there's something that our science group is talking about that could really help our aeronautics group, that I can help transfer some of that knowledge between the two. One of the wonderful blessings we have here at Langley is the diversity of the work. And very few of the big projects can be accomplished without involving people from multiple directorates. And there was a while I was on a flight project for a couple of years. I had been working with my mentor and had created a requirements verification process. This was something that I truly owned. I had developed it, all of the forms and the formats I knew this inside and out, and I owned it. And to stand there in front of that review board and explain it, be able to answer all of their questions, and then in the end have nodding heads around the room, I could have jumped for joy if it was not a very formal setting. And so, afterwards I remember going out in the hall and just be like, yes! Success! Some of the most disappointing moments have been in almost one-on-one interactions with either mentors or people that I really cared about. And to realize that what I had done or hadn't done had disappointed them. Some days you just have to get through today. It's hard to pick just one person that's had a huge influence. I'd say maybe rather than one singular person, it's bits and pieces from people. And I will remember, giving that extra help when something wasn't quite right. The one constant that I know is wherever I am, I want to be helping people. I want to be adding value. I am most proud of the students that I have worked with either directly as a mentor or even just been a branch mate and for some of them, and just see how successful they are and to have them still keep in touch. I want to be remembered as someone who helped, whether it was helping achieve a project success or whether it was helping some individual who felt lost or stuck. I want to be remembered as someone who cared about folks as more than just workers working on a project, because we spend a lot of hours with all these folks, and I know I am invested in their lives and they're invested in mine, because it all blurs together when we have to work on something. And sometimes if you're on a project, you see everybody's best and you see some of their worsts as you're stressed out coming up to some deadline. So I want to be remembered as the one that cared about both.